you out of here. Okay, well, good evening, everybody. We are in our special meeting for a vote on the recommendations going back to the county exec, which have to be to her by September 2nd. What you should have received from Ryan, number one, is the county exec's recommendations, which is dated May 31st, was left from her office to the county council. Then you should have received a letter from the county council over Chair DeNova's signature dated June 20th with his recommendations. And what we want to do is just kind of quickly go over the county exec's recommendations. Brian, I have a couple of questions about that. If you guys have the county exec's recommendations in front of you, dated FY 2024 to FY 2026, March 23rd. Everybody's got that? Good evening, Dr. Prager. Everybody got that?
The one attachment recommendation 2023 to 2026.
Yes, that's the county exec.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, the what I want to look at is number one, the speed cameras. In talking to Delegate Turner, I think there's a bill passed that there are already 6 speed cameras coming this way. Were you aware of that? There was a county exec's office aware of that?
I am not aware of that personally, no.
Okay, Delegate Turner, you want to expound on that for a second? Turn your mic on.
I'm sorry, I cut off the.
There you go.
That was Delegate Chris Valderrama's bill. You know, that's her pet peeve on the 210 highway, and we had already from the beginning. We had 3. We had 3. Okay, and those was not enough, Pastor Robinson, and because people just didn't pay no attention to those 3, they still was doing over 100 miles going up and down 210, and so she put in to have some more, and we only got through 3 more, which made it a total of 6. Correct. And it passed.
Correct.
Okay. And it passed. Okay. And so where they are, I really don't know, Pastor Robinson, but I know that they are coming and being put up. Delegate Woods, do you know where they are? Have they been put up? No.
They have not been put up yet. And we have actually been trying to get an update. We know it's been approved, but we have not gotten permission. And you're correct. It's an additional 3 for a total of 6 speed cameras.
Okay, so we can do something else with this $144,000 in this in the county exec's recommendation. Just want to make that just point that out. The other thing, Ryan, is the workforce development training for employed Prince George's National Harbor and the Youth Employment Program, Office of Human Resources and Management. Is that a duplication of efforts? You got what we're looking at here is 185. No, I'm looking in the wrong place. $400,000. Is that kind of a duplication of efforts in what Walter can do through employed Prince George's?
Sorry, I'm trying to look at it as well. You're looking at the 400,000?
Yeah, it's 400,000. I'm sorry, not 400,000. Yes, 400,000. Just down near the bottom of the page, just above community impact grants, is 400,000 for youth employment, and it's almost. I mean, that's what Walter is doing.
That's completely different. Those are 2 different programs. The SYEP program is a summer program that we put on for youth throughout the county, where students they go in government jobs, they go into private jobs with partners, where they basically have like summer jobs and internships for about 6 to 8 weeks in the summer.
Okay, so
that's sponsored by the Prince George's County government, is specifically for students. The what's happening at Employ Prince George's is for adults to get them gainfully employed. So those are two very different programs.
And can I just ask a quick question about that, Ryan?
Sure.
So you're saying that money is only going to be designated for SYEP if the students are coming from the three high schools? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Friendly, Oxon, oh no, the four, okay, so from the four high schools, okay.
Yes.
It's Friendly, Oxon Hill, Potomac, and Cross.
And Crossland, yeah, I missed one of
And
them.
it's estimated to serve, as it says, 121 students.
Okay, and the other thing, under community, just below community impact grants, grants to community organizations, designated grantees, $250,000. You know, I think this does exactly what Mr. Burrows did last year, designating funds that are not competed for. What is that? Do you know? Can you explain what that is?
Unfortunately, that I do not know. I would have to ask about that.
Yeah, I think we need to kick back at that, because that does exactly what we were opposing last year when Councilman Burrows took the money from schools and gave it to organizations he wanted to give it to without competing. I think this does the same thing.
And the county executive seems to make the same statement that she thinks that it's an oversurge.
Yeah. So we need to check mark that, send that back with a question. So other than that, I don't really have any overwhelming concerns on here. The litter, the street sweeping, you know, I'm kind of, I don't know if you've ever been behind the street sweep. They make the streets worse than what they look like before they picked up the trash. But we're showing $243,000 for that. That's within? I'm assuming that's within the impact zone.
All of this is within the impact.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Litter control and the cameras for cameras for illegal dumping. That's $380,000. That's no, $229,000. Kind of expensive, but I don't have anything other than the $250,000 and the revenue. The cameras, I think we need to make the county exec aware that we do have the cameras. And the $250,000, as I said, what I think this does is exactly what we were pushing back at Councilman Burrows on designated grantees with no bidding. I think that might be a mistake for us to agree with that. Anybody else have any questions about the budget?
I just saw the statements that the county executive made regarding Forest Heights and talking about the high percentage of funding they will be getting if they receive the recommended funding.
Yeah, we're not into that yet. That will be in our recommendations. If you read her letter, I think they got 400 and some odd thousand for 450 for one. That's close to $900,000. Originally, when Councilman Burrows changed the definition of schools and added nonprofit organizations, we originally had $3.4 million set aside for repair of schools. We did 10 schools year before last. 6 were supposed to be slated for this year for $3.4 million. We're replacing roofs, windows, boilers, fire alarm systems, those kind of things. Well, all of that got wiped out, and he wanted to give $900 some odd thousand to the city of Forest Heights to cut the grass on 210. Well, 210 is a state highway, and of course that didn't happen. So all of a sudden, we come back with giving Forest Heights $400 and some odd thousand for beautification and something else for youth. And in her letter that you have, it outlines that. Well, he got that money last year. Forest Heights got that money. I went down to testify against that. However, I wasn't allowed to testify until after the vote was made. So they got that money. I have some concerns about that, and obviously the county exec feels the same way in her letter. And I wanted to kind of outline that. Anybody else got any other questions before we move forward? If you had an opportunity to look at Chair Denoga's letter outlining the funding sources that Councilman Burrows has recommended, he's done the same thing again with the funding for Forest Heights, 475,000 for beautification, and another 476,000 for youth employment. Again, I think that we are duplicating efforts with this, but of course we are making our recommendations. He's already made his. So the concerns I have is the two things that we pointed out with what the county exec is recommending. We'd like to make a change on that. And if you don't mind, what we can do is move towards the recommendations that I've made. It should be 2 pages of recommendations that I've made. And I outline and quote the county exec with respect to her concerns about the money. It kind of closely aligns itself with us. And if you have the opportunity to read that, then we don't need to read all of this. But in the middle of the paragraph, since the formation of the Oversight Committee, we believe accountability and transparency are necessary to maintain public trust and use of the LD funds. Therefore, all recipients should provide the LDC with bi-monthly or mid-year or end-of-year reports. These reports should include last year, 2022 through 2026 and moving forward. Now, what I listed was Prince George's Community College, which is what the recommendations are now all the way through. However, when you get to the second page and midway down, again, Jamela, I mentioned the grants to support Forest Heights is 125,000. Now that's the same recommendations that the county exec talking about in her letter. And that law is HB 35, and we've been trying to get some determination on that for some time. They were supposed to only get money for 3 years. And of course, with the change that Burrows made, he just kind of gave them that money. So I at this point, I'm going to leave that alone and move on to something else. But she is clearly in her letter making it clear that they should only get that $125,000. Now, and I talked about those recommendations, and that's what's that bill? 9-A-31 of the Maryland Code. The municipal current receive separate payments of those funds. You've already read that, right? Anybody on that? And one of the other recommendations that I made is the solicitation for facelift. This recommendation was a part of our last year's recommendations, but however it got passed over, I don't know what happened with that. But I talked to that organization again, along with another nonprofit that has 160 different organizations. And what I think we should do is to make certain that the things that we want to see get put on the site for organizations to, and they will be participating in this upcoming funding. It's 160 organizations, and all we need to do is, what I found is what organizations were doing. They were coming into the LDC telling us what they wanted to do. And what we did was put in a needs assessment committee. However, that didn't take hold. And I've done some things on my own, but put in a needs assessment committee in order to really kind of direct where we wanted to see the money go, rather than organizations coming in telling us what they wanted to do in the impact zone. So what I'm recommending with that, in talking to this company, what they did is something very, very similar in Suitland. They replaced doors, they replaced windows, those kind of things. They put out advertisement, and I think they did something in the neighborhood of around $300,000. This is estimated at $900,000 would impact 27 homes. Glass Manor, South Lawn, Brook Manor, and River Ridge Estates. So that would be $900,000 or roughly $900,000 a year to impact 27 homes. Now, the problem I have with this, Ryan, is the $900,000. I recommended, and you'll see it on the next page. I recommended that the $850,000 be no more than $950 at any given time, and that $1.2 million should be put in the budget instead of 850. Did everybody get a look at that? Rashida, you look a little confused.
I just can't see that well, sir. And I'm looking from a phone screen.
Please don't tell me that. And then that was number one. We want to do facelifts and beautification, which falls under the law of the LDC. And that's capped at 900,000 and would impact roughly 27 homes a year. The question, Ryan, I have is of course, if we increase the grants by 1.2 million, we should have enough money to do something like this. And of course, beautification is a part of the process. So if anybody's got any concerns about that, I'd like to talk about that. Tech 101 for seniors, summer youth program. What I had in mind here in being down at the harbor a lot is a youth boating class certification and introducing some of our young people to boating. I think it's something that we fall very short on in the Black community. And I really think young people getting involved in boating would be something that they would really enjoy, particularly through the summer months. And there are a couple of people down in the Fort Washington area, boaters, who do training on Coast Guard training, those kind of things, certifying you for jet ski, certifying them for boating, those kind of things. That's one of the things that we recommended last year. Financial literacy classes for all ages, senior transport, seek Bible organizations to provide services to the homeless population within the impact zone. This was Mary Neighbors. This was one of her pet things that she wanted to see done before she left. And of course, we didn't get any of this done. The LDC received 1.9 million. Number 8, the LDC received $1.9 million in grant requests in the 2022 community grant cycle. We recommend an increase of $1.2 million across projected years. However, a minimum base for grants should be no less than $950,000 annually. And of course, this is subject to the kind of money we get from the LDC, and that's based upon the activity on the tables. But in taking the $3.4 million away from schools that Mr. Burroughs done, we are recommending that some of that money be put into the grants and increase the grants to $1.2 million. Anybody got any concerns about that? Okay, number 9, increase grant awards from $50,000 to $500,000 to accommodate funding in the local impact areas such as beautification. Now, as I said, I recommended $900,000 for, in talking to this organization, it's $900,000 and they can do 27 homes. We may need to up this from $50,000 to $500,000. That doesn't mean we give $500,000 away, but it gives us the flexibility to award that high. Any questions on that? I noted that Anne Arundel County, they give up a lot of money. Of course, the ceiling is a lot higher, and I'm recommending that our ceiling be pushed to $500,000. Whether we have it in there or not, we do have the ability to go that high. Anybody? I think all the participants, to include Prince George's County Community College, the library, and the grants, all should go through the workshop. I think everybody should go through that workshop. Anybody getting money, anybody getting any of this $10 million should go through the workshop. I think that's important. And number 11, now I don't know how often you guys frequent MGM, the hotel or the harbor. if we are not careful, this place is going to look just like the boulevard if we're not careful. There's a lot going on down there. People are dropping their children off, 12, 13 years old. There's stuff going on at the hotel. There's stuff going on at the harbor itself. And then there's a lot of stuff going on at the MGM and in the parking lots. A lot of cars being broken into, a lot of robberies, those kind of things are going on. We fell short $600 million in the budget this year. I work on, I'm on the police. I worked on the police reform task force. I also am I'm on the Chiefs Advisory Council. I talk to him all the time. We've been talking about the crime down there. I also met with the Peterson Group, looking to meet with MGM and looking to meet with the hotel. The police department got $500,000 last year in increase, and that was for recruits. In talking to Aziz, particularly down at the harbor and the stuff that I see down there, I have made some recommendations. The three segways are much needed. I don't know if you've ever driven down there, but trying to get through with the cars is crazy. Segways would give the police officers the ability to move around in all of these locations and not necessarily be on foot, but can get into the crowds a lot easier. And what I'm recommending is, in talking to Chief Aziz, the things that we're recommending here, the total of $505,000 is a one-time expense. And another future worthwhile investment would be to install a Milo police range simulator. I don't know if any of you have ever been, when we were on the police reform task force and also on the Chiefs Advisory Council, we were required to go and go through the police citizens academy. In that class, you're required to go through Milo, which is a shoot, don't shoot exercise. And it is a fascinating exercise and will put you in touch with where some of these police officers find themselves in a split-second decision, where you're actually operating in front of a simulator with a instructor behind you, making changes in the environment that you find yourself in. Me, I shot everything. And in one instance, this is a car being pulled over. Two young Hispanic guys get out. One of them just starts to fidget around his shirt as though he was going up on his shirt, and I shot him. And come to find out, he had no gun. It's real important that we introduce Milo, I think, on a mobile unit, can move from District 4 to District 9 to District 7, divisions 4, 9, and 7, where we can educate the public within the impact zone of what police officers face with. It's called a Milo, but we want to make a mobile unit to move around in District 4, 7, and not the, I'm talking about police departments, divisions 4, 7, and 9, not the districts. So those places are within the impact zone. So I think that would be a worthwhile investment to protect our interests in what we have as far as a tax base out of MGM, the harbor, and the hotel. I hope that makes sense.
I definitely like the idea of the segues.
Yeah. So, I mean, in talking to Chief Aziz, I think they need a lot of help. And you certainly can't go online advertising that you don't have enough staff to handle the problems that we see. That's a huge mistake. That's one of the reasons why Amazon wants to put their headquarters in Virginia and give us a warehouse. We keep projecting the wrong things, and we need to get a cap on this thing and catch it before it gets out of hand. But MGM, the harbor, and the hotel are getting out of hand. And I think we need to afford them the opportunity to at least get these segues and the things that they need to be effective down at the harbor. We call that our crown jewel. And the worst thing in the world for us to do is to suffer the embarrassment of the negative coming out of that. I think we need to really upgrade to that point. Anybody got any concerns about that?
Sound good to me.
Say it again.
See, that sound good for me. Marlow, the range, for them to go and take this class range. I've been hearing the same thing down there and down at MGM. It is getting out of hand. I feel that we don't have enough police officers down there, and some of them can't go out in certain jurisdiction. They got to keep within their range, but
Yeah.
it's not because you don't hear it on the news, CNN, and on the television about all the things that's happening down there down there in National Harbor. I mean, they need to show that it is a lot of stuff that's happening down there. They're not showing the crime and things that's going on. And if it's in our district, it's in the 26th legislative district, it's within the radius that we need to take care. Remember, we expanded the radius.
Yeah.
Now, so now we got to take care about of what is going on. It was just 3-mile radius. Now we expanded it. Now we got to take care about what's going on. And it's and Pastor Robinson, you need to know that there's a lot going on. I hate when they call my office, my house, my community liaison, and tell them about some things that's happening down there.
I know what's going on down there. Please, I know exactly what's going on. I just think they need the assistance. As I said, they only got $500,000 this year for recruiting.
Yeah.
But and they are spending a lot of money in overtime in order to maintain things down there. Now, they didn't have a lot of a problem when Beyonce was over at the stadium. Everybody went there, but there's a lot going on down there that if we don't grab a hold of it and grab a hold of it quickly, we may not look like the boulevard, but the worst thing in the world for us to do is to lose the reputation and this thing get out in a negative kind of way. And I just think we need to support the police department the way Anne Arundel County has and those kind of things. And this $505,000 is a one-time thing. Of course, Milo would that's not included in this dollar amount. Milo is about $300,000 or $400,000. It's something we can do down the road or do next year as a recommendation, those kind of things. But we need to do something to support the police, particularly in District 4 and the harbor, in order to impact this thing before it gets out of hand, because it's getting out of hand. I've already go ahead.
I'm sorry, I totally agree with you. I think if they provided the type of support that they provide at a commander's game, that they can provide that same type of support that they provide down to harbor. And unfortunately, I don't go to the harbor because I was carjacked down there. So I stay as far away from there as possible. So it is, to me, turning into a boulevard. I think that a lot of the Maryland residents asked for the harbor to come here. And it seems like now we as a community within the radius, like you said, we're not taking care of it. I think we are allowing the younger generations and some of the residents from across the bridge to come in and just ruin the reputation and turn it into a boulevard. So I think that we do need more money to support the police department. I know that they're short. For example, they came to an HOA meeting for my community and provided statistics. And I asked them, shouldn't you be doing something else? We can get statistics via email. So I think that that should be the number one priority, is providing an additional officers to the police department, or so that they can recruit, because we are short.
Yeah, well, this funding here is more of equipment to get them to move around and do the things that they need to do. And yet at the same time, I would really like to see Milo get off the ground. I plan to talk to the county exec about that, try to find some other money and get that mobile unit off the ground. Not so much for use just in the impact zone, but I think this would have an impact on the entire police department if that Milo unit were capable of being moved around to all 9 divisions.
Well, don't they have those segways at the outlets?
I don't know. I think the
What outlets are
segues
you referring to?
The
Tangier?
National Harbor outlets, the outlet
no.
stores on Oxon
No.
Hill Road.
No,
I
no.
haven't seen any segues there.
Maybe I'm thinking the bikes.
No, so, hi, this is Sharice. They do have segways there, but it's not the PG County Police, it's their
No,
private.
it belongs to
Yeah, their private security that has
Yeah.
the segways.
Okay, I thought I saw them. Okay,
it belongs,
thank you,
yeah,
Sharice.
those belong to Peterson Group. And in fact, and in talking with them, I think some of them are broken. They're still trying to get them fixed, but those belong to the Peterson Group. And Peterson Group, of course, is hiring private security, but it's not enough. I'm also talking to, or plan to meet with MGM and plan to meet with the hotel, see if I can get them to kick in some funds, independent of what this is. Of course, I'm just down there and involved in trying to get some things going on. But I think that we can utilize some of this money that we took away from the schools, that it would be very, very beneficial for us to protect that investment as a tax dollar, as a commercial tax base. We need to protect that. One of the things I talked to a developer about, he says what developers do and businesses, high scale businesses do is they do a needs assessment, a liability assessment. And when you are pushing things like police response times, there were 2 people down here that got on the news and Channel 4 and Channel 5 to declare it took 3.5, 4 hours for the police to respond to a break-in. Well, that's a break-in. That's not a burglary in progress. And talking about poor police response times, well, when you get an upscale restaurant or an upscale business to hear that kind of thing, why would I want to put my business in a space where it's taking 3.5 hours for the police to respond? So, I mean, I think that we are making a mistake a lot of times when we get on places like Nextdoor and just publicize robberies, publicize pocketbook snatching, publicize those things. I think it's important for us to warn people, but when we start putting this stuff out there like that, people tend to see us the way we see ourselves. If that's all we pushing is negative, that's what people see is negative. And we constantly complain about why we can't get things done down in South County. It's because we're pushing out the negative. And we really need to do something with the harbor, and we need to do it quickly. So that's my recommendation. Chief Aziz and I are supposed to get together on what the cost of a mobile Milo unit will cost, but it can move around the entire county rather than just down at the harbor, and interact with the public and people to get people to understand what police officers go to. I was a chaplain in Fairfax County for 16.5 years. Police and fire have the highest suicide and divorce rate in the country. You'd be amazed at what these guys go through. I've married a lot of them, I counsel a lot of them. You'd be absolutely amazed what these people go through. We had a gentleman from the sheriff's department coming down in the hit highway a few years ago, put a gun to his head and blew his head off while the car was driving. In District 7, Division 7 Police Department, had a sergeant dress up, leave the house, come back in, and blew his brains out in front of his wife and son. It's not a game. This is not a game. These guys go through a lot of stuff. And I haven't always felt this way about police officers because I had an issue with a police officer trying to kill me. I haven't always felt this way. But I do have a spot in my heart for what these guys go through. Talk to them all the time. Every chance I get, see one sitting, I pull over and tell them how much I appreciate. But we need to support our police department. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that these are the recommendations, with the exception, I'd like to add to come up to some conclusion with what the county exec has here for grants to community organizations and designated grantees. I think we need to avoid that. As I said, there's a number of complaints going on now about the funding that Mr. Burrows gave to organizations that did not have to compete for it. And I think we need to avoid that $250,000 and put it somewhere else. Also, I had another question. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, the $144,000 from the Revenue Authority. We already have the cameras designated. They've already been approved. So I think we need to strike those two things. And what we need to do is vote on this. We have to have this back to the county exec by I think it's what, the second, Ryan, that falls on the weekend, doesn't it?
I believe it's Monday.
Monday. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, we want to get Ryan out the house to celebrate his wife's birthday. So what we want to do right now is not unless anyone has any other things that they'd like to add to this, or what your comments are. Without that, I'd like to get a motion to accept the recommendations as we have discussed them, and then a vote.
I hereby move that we accept the recommendations as discussed.
Okay. All in favor, please.
Second.
Second, and all in favor, please say aye. Or let me.
Aye.
I need to. Can this hands?
Aye.
Lori is an aye. Dr. Huggins.
Aye.
Jamela Woods. Okay, that's pretty much everybody, I think. Miss Lane.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. All right, so we will accept the recommendations with the minor changes to the county exec's budget in dealing with the Revenue Authority and the grants to communities designated grantees. Amen. All right.
Amen.
All right, Ryan, have a good time, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thanks, everybody.
All right, have a
All
good
right.
evening, everybody.
Plenty cake
Everybody
and
have a
ice
good
cream.
evening.
All right.
Good night.